Live tonight from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 6 of the 2021 RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series. And happy that you're spending your Monday night, as always, here with us on RaceSpotTV. We're alongside myself, Evan Pasoko. Happy to be joined once more by Jonathan Burke on the call. Downstairs is our producer, Hugo Luis, and our in-race reporter, Dylan Coyle. And this is I don't want to say an RSR first, but it's a first in quite some time that we've got racing at the Magic Mile. New Hampshire Motor Speedway is back, and it kicks off the second half of this 10-race championship with Matt Danson maybe seemingly being our new championship favorite as we're 5 down and 5 to go.
Yeah, but this track presents a whole slew of unique problems that we didn't really see at Iowa. We had a lot of multi-groove racing, guys on the high side, guys on the low side here. It's really one lane, and it's going to be really tough, I think, for some of these championship favorites to make moves and manage if they do fall behind. So let's say Freenage and Danson are both outside the top 5. They're going to have to work their way up through the field.
Been some time since they've been here as well, so I'm sure it's going to be a busy week with the Christmas holiday as well, trying to get whatever the sim time they could get in to practice and get ready for this one. Here's your championship points picture coming into this evening. Matt Danson did not win last week at Iowa, but his championship advantage grew. 4 points now ahead of Andrew Freenage for the battle in first and second. Michael Araya, big gains, but 31 back. Daniel Eberhardt, your Iowa winner, big gains. He's up 5 spots, but still 46 points back. It looks like it has for the last few weeks. A battle for first and second in the championship, a battle for third on back. Two-time race winner Danson, though, besting the two-time defending series champion in Freenage thus far. And even tonight, Jonathan, better than Freenage on the practice charts. We'll see where they end up starting as qualifying is underway now.
And that's going to be huge. Qualifying, it's all about track position here at New Hampshire. Again, I mentioned it, it's going to be hard to pass, and I think if Danson and Freenage get out early, it's going to be, a kind of a dogfight between those two. But, look for Eberhardt or Laraya maybe to play spoiler here. They both have been consistent and fast. If they qualify ahead of them, it'll be interesting. And there's the track map we have, you said that Magic Mile, only 1 mile.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to tell you a race like a short track, but at over a mile in length doesn't fall in that category. Also, we're looking at summertime in-sim conditions. So a 77 degrees Fahrenheit, 106 degrees, though, trackside temperature. There's going to be little to no grip here at a track that's barely got any to begin with only 2 degrees of banking on the bottom of the racetrack and 7 up top. That lateral grip not going to be there. And with a hot track, these tires are going to fall apart over the course of tonight's race. Taking a live look in at qualifying, Danson and Freenage right now provisionally 1 and 2 as these drivers get 2 laps to put down their best time to set the field, which I just mentioned, just getting past the Christmas holidays. We take a look at Liam Sheen, I believe that is there in the 77, Jonathan. We'll wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays as we get ready for the new year. But it is a small field tonight as well. Only 26 of 45 eligible drivers driving tonight. That should go up in the final 4 weeks of the season. But because it's kind of a weird week mixed in between 2 holidays, that smaller field size could open things up at a racetrack that I think with 43 cars would race very differently than it will tonight with 26.
It's definitely going to make traffic a little bit easier, and I think for some guys that are bent towards the rear half of the field, this could also just kind of be a blessing in disguise. Like, hey, we can kind of wait it out and ride through this race and see if we can maybe move up the field with some other contenders being absent. Only 26 cars. It's not going to get too crowded, but it's still a full field in your typical fixed series race. So still going to be lots of action though.
Here's Daniel Eberhardt, your race winner from the Iowa Speedway, and of course wanted to fight for a championship in this like he was able to do in the Cup Series. He'll go to 4th on the board for the moment with his best lap time just being logged of a 31:002. So we'll continue to see if anybody else can get all the way up. You see Dylan C. Jones didn't take a time in practice at all, so not really sure what to expect out of the 11 car. Can be easily a top 5 or top 10 competitor, so let's see what the 11 can do. Yeah,
but that's going to be a concern definitely for the 11. You need a lot of practice time, especially at a track like this that it's so different. As he gets into the wall, that's at a 4. Yep, that's what a lack of practice time is definitely going to do for you.
So that lap's not going to count. He's not even going to get the slower lap time because he got into the fence. That lap time is deleted, so that doesn't count at all. And now he's going to have to try to get whatever he can. So that's it. I think Dylan Jones, in fact, that was the end of lap number 2. So he will not get a time in qualifying. Part of me thinks that may have been intentional because he doesn't queue so often. Maybe he just wanted to get a feel for it and then hit the wall so that nobody knew what his lap time was. But he was out there, so maybe he did want to queue. He'll be, at best, 22nd on board with Kyle Kamer, somebody else who's trying to get a time down in queue. Kamer did go in practice. He was 5th best. Let's see what he can do. Not a lot of time left, by the way. Only 15 seconds, 14-13. So he's got to get this lap in.
I hear score 1 for the Dylan R. Coyle instead of Dylan C. Jones. Is that a score 1? I'll beat him in qualifying because he didn't get a time?
I suppose anything's better than a 0, so yes.
Okay. Oh, man.
And I will update you as well that at the moment, it looks like you're ahead in the wall versus sheets battle, which we've been keeping our viewers posted with all season long. So we'll update on that as this one goes on. There's all our onboard cameras, including Dylan to bottom left. We'll also be looking in with Ross Cato, Gary Weaver, Matt Mara, and more as the race goes on. But let's go trackside and take a look at your Real Sim Racing starting grid. And pole position for this one belongs to the points leader. Matt Dancid will bring us to the green flag alongside his championship competitor. It's Andrew Ferdinand in second. Sam Nieto, Daniel Everhart going to double up at row 2. They'll be 3rd and 4th position. To Braxton DeWeese in a top 5 spot. Michael O'Reilly will start from 6th position. Jeremy Miller 7th along with Eric Sanford in P8. And back on row 5, Dominic Cow and Kyle Trudell are your top 10.
Ross Cato and Jaron Weinmaster line up 11th and 12th. They'll be looking for a top 10 finish this weekend. Looking further down the order, Lachinsky in the 03 lines up 13th. Liam Sheen, after taking a week off last weekend, this is in 14th. Nick Mara and Matthew Mara sharing row 8, 15 and 16. Michael Kaczynski in the 30, Garrett Hess in the 00, Gary Weaver in the 99, and Dylan R. Coyle rounding out the top 20.
And the last driver to take a time in queue is Kalis. That'll put him 21st position, so the provisionals belong to 22nd Dylan Jones, 23rd for Kyle Kamer and Stephen Price in 24th, with Steve Durham and Steve Soa 25th and 26th position with no times. That is a look top to bottom at your starting grid. It's powered by IWRAPS. IWRAPS is changing how you find virtual wraps for iRacing. Go to iWraps.shop for more information as you can get on track with some pretty hot paint schemes courtesy of either their custom paint building tool or you can get some totally customized artwork as well. Dancid, though, has stormed onto the scene in a debut season here at Real Sim Racing. He has put it to Andrew Ferdinand, winner of 2 of the last 3. Ferdinand's last race win came at the end of November at Richmond, who at that point had the championship lead. 5 races down, 5 races to go, and maybe one of the best battles for an RSR championship in front of us in quite some time. We're happy that you're spending your Monday evening with us, as always, here on RaceSpotTV. The pace car down and in. It'll be Matt Danson's field to control as we say, let's go racing from New Hampshire. Early challenge for the race lead, but Dancin hangs on. He'll lead lap 1, secure the first bonus point. Ferdinand rides in second as 1 and 2 pull away from a lot of chaos there on the back. It's Michael Orion, the 44. They're nearly 4 wide off the corner. DeWeese gets a touch. He will save it. P5 going at it strong, still 3 wide now.
Dominic Howe with a brave move down on the backstretch. He's trying to make up as much spots as he can early before these tires start to wear out, but at the cost of Braxton DeWeese, who had a brilliant P5 starting spot, and it's now all for naught. He's going to get eaten up here if he's not careful. A little bit of contact as well.
It's Cato down on the inside. The Fast Forward Esports, number 12, Ford Mustang, trying to work the bottom. Sheen going to be squeezed up against the fence. That battle right now, side by side, for about 9th and 10th on track. So as your leaders got off to a calm start, these drivers not so lucky. There's an on-board look with Ross on the left-hand side of your screen. And what he sees right-hand side as he will not hold off Sheen. Sheen gets 10th position, and now it's Urine Mindmaster to the outside in the 48 car. He'll try to make his way through, so clearly you don't want to be that low at New Hampshire. You want that extra lane or two up the hill to get some more banking, and looks like Ross is stuck on the inside at the moment.
Yeah, because the problem with being that low, especially to that apron down there, is you try and put the throttle down out of the corner and it gets loose on you, and it gets tight as he almost gets up into Windmaster a little bit. This is somewhere that Ross Cato does not want to be. He's going to try and slot in behind as quickly as he can, but that inside is just not fast.
And he may find a hole. Windmaster making the pass, but he gets in front of Trudell, so he'll stop the bleeding at P12. Just like that, Cato 4+ seconds off of the race leader. But the lead car in this group is now under fire. Eric Stanford has position number 8. Braxton DeWeese, though, wants it back. DeWeese was the one who made contact there in that close call battle for 5th at the time. He lost a whole ton of positions, trying to get at least one back, but Stanford's got that preferred lane on the outside. Going to be awfully tough for the 3 car, I think, to make this work down there.
And that 19 had a very good performance last week at Iowa, and I think he's kind of here to show and muscle that he's, definitely a top 10 capable driver. He came from the rear of the grid. This week qualifies in the top 10, and right now he's holding off DeWeese, but not with much ease. He's got a whole heap of cars behind him who are hungry to get by.
He was trying to move a little bit up the hill to get Stanford higher up, but I think mainly just to get him a little bit higher up and out of that bottom second lane or so, and wasn't able to do so. You can see Stanford, though, kind of scared by the 3 driving it in so deep, and Stanford was all the way up there, in the asphalt and the granite, right? Those 2 different compounds. If you get way up the hill, you end up in the granite. Not a ton of room up there. You can see that difference in the pavement color. That's where the asphalt meets the granite, and you really don't want to go up and above that 2nd or 3rd set of hash marks, and it will be a successful defensive P8. Eric Stanford holds off the challenge. A couple of big moves way back there down the running order. Not quite sure who that was, going way off to the inside, but no positions are swapped out for the moment, and you've got this pack of cars. Stanford through Mara is, 6-7 cars, all separated out of a second and change.
Yeah, and they're all going to be guys that are looking to get around each other quickly as Windmaster almost boots Liam Sheen into the outside. Well, that was a close call.
125-lap race here at New Hampshire. Kind of like most of the races in this RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series. Not marathons, but not sprints. And we were talking to pre-race about what we thought was going to happen strategy-wise. These drivers all have 3 additional sets of tires in the pit stall. So if there are yellows, there's going to be ample opportunities to get those changed, and they're certainly eating them up early with all these side-by-side battles. There's an onboard look with Matthew Barra. He is up 1 position from where he started, but if the cars up the road keep doing this, he may have an opportunity for some more. You're looking on the left-hand side, that's Cato's number 12, with the side-by-side roadblock as the 03 of Leszczynski on the bottom and the 77 of Sheen on the outside. And Leszczynski going to make the bottom of the racetrack work that time in 1 and 2.
I think it matters of who's in the top lane and who's in the bottom. Right now, the 12's able to hold the bottom reasonably well, but it seems like Matthew Marr already is getting held up a little bit like Liam Sheen in the car just ahead of him. There goes the other Marr brothers, and the Marr brothers looks like they're on a charge.
Trying to make some moves, and that's a big slide at a turn 4 for Matthew Barra, so he'll lose a spot in all of this as Kyle Kamer sneaks through on the inside. The driver who did not put a time down in Q started from 23rd up to P16. Now he's on the door of Liam Sheen. Remember, Kamer was top 5 in practice, but with no time recorded in Q, started outside of the top 20. He is trying to make early moves in the SK Sim Racing 4. There's another spot. In 3 and 4, he's now plus 8 spots and up to 15th. Nearly into the fence that time with Sheen And at turn number 2, further up the road, Michael Araya is under fire by the number 2 of Sam Nieto. He just passed him for 4th. Nieto is trying to come back at him for that spot, but unable to make a counter punch this lap. But it looks like now Araya clearing. He has +2 positions, and that's basically all at the expense of Sam Nieto, who started 3rd but has fallen down to position number 5. Other than that, look at the separation up the road from Araya. Last time by, Araya was scored 3.6 seconds off of the race leader. But nearly 2 seconds and change of that is just to Daniel Eberhardt in 3rd alone. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd have all pulled away quite substantially from all this fighting that you see mid-pack. And there's Ross Cato in another battle. This time it's the 03 of Leschinski that he gets by.
I just saw Liam Sheen has disconnected.
And that was a driver that we were just watching in a battle not that long ago. I did not see an incident for Liam Sheen. So maybe he just had to pull over and park it because he had some sort of an issue outside of the sim, because he was running. Last time we saw him, kind of around the Mars in 16th, Sheen has indeed parked it. And talking about through the field, let's check in with our in-race reporter. Well, he's side by side. The Battle of the Dylans, since you wanted to point that out in Q. Dylan Coyle, Dylan Jones fighting for 18th and 19th position.
We've been fighting pretty much the entire race so far. See, look at this. I hit the wall whenever I start talking to you guys.
I mean, he signed up for it, so I'm not going to apologize. That's going to be a spot loss. The 22 of Stephen Price gets by. Look out. There's Mr. New Hampshire himself. Steve Durham with the hip check in 3 and 4 to get on by. And
that hurt a bit.
I thought we were going to see 3 wide up the road because Stephen Price had a big run, but instead he just opted to give it to the bumper to Dylan Jones. That's Kaczynski way up the hill. What's it like? I mean, tell us a bit about New Hampshire. How's it been handling so far?
Oh, look at that. Dylan Jones just got really up into the wall. That was big. What's it been like? Congested. Congested. It's a lot of guys have been making mistakes back here. Hold on, let me try to make this move. Going into 1, we'll see. A little far back.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be really brave on the brakes if you wanted to try that.
Well, your buddy's behind you again, so watch out.
I know. Both with right side damage.
Yeah, that can hurt at a place like this where it's so flat.
We've been green for 17 laps. I mean, are the tires already kind of falling apart, or is it... I mean, is anybody taking it easy and trying to conserve, or is it kind of what it looks like, where they're just going 110%? It looks like it's nuts.
Yeah, it is nuts. I feel like everyone is going 110% right now. This feels like a road course in how I have to manage my throttle coming off the corner. It really does, as Jones has a run here.
Side by side, this battle is for 19th and 20th on track. Seems like Kaczynski also going to go way deep into the corners all the time. We'll let you deal with the other Dylan, and
thank you.
We'll check back in.
Have fun with your friends.
I think there's a battle for 2nd, at least close to happening. Not many times do you say that Andrew Frieda is just 1.8 seconds off for the race lead while running 2nd, but it is a big margin. You'd think that's the battle for the race lead. This is the fight for P2. Where's Danson? There he is, way up the road. And Eberhardt has been better than Farinaj for the last several laps, and he's reeled this thing all the way in to that time at a half a car length down into turn number 1. Race winner from last week, trying to put another spot on Farinaj. It'll be Danson leading. That 05 car going to be feeling pretty good at the moment. I know it's early, only working lap number 20 of 125.
Yeah, I think we mentioned a little bit in practice. Dylan Coyle was out on the track, and he was saying Freenaj needs to get out of the way. I don't think Freenaj is strong on these long runs right now. I think his speed kind of falls off.
Please give context for me saying that.
Dylan was out on fresh tires.
That's normally
Freenaj was on much
what
older tires.
Freenaj is best at. Like, he's always complimented as the guy that can conserve the tires, can play the right strategy, and can play the long game. And maybe he's savvy now to be good in 40 laps, but you're absolutely right. I mean, at that point, you know, in practice, to be fair, he was on nearly 30-lap old tires. Dylan was on freshies. But it appears to be holding true, at least in the moment, that of our top three, Freenage is the slowest at this moment.
And let's take Iowa as well into consideration.
I'm not in the top three, though.
Well, let's take Iowa into consideration as well. Freenage was really not a factor much of Iowa, and Eberhardt was, as Freenage, I believe, just lets Eberhardt go.
That'll be a tactical move, certainly. He knew that Donati was better, let him go, and Freenage is going to give away a bunch of time. So now let's see, what could Eberhardt do? We're going to expect him to pull away from Freenage in this battle for second and third, but will he be able to close in on Danson in the battle for 1 and 2? Last time by, the difference between first and second, 2.602 seconds. This is Eberhardt's first full lap without that 88 car in front, so I'm curious if that difference is going to close just a little bit. And this is normally at New Hampshire, where I'd start talking about some pretty thick traffic being a concern, but again, smaller field means that these race leaders shouldn't have too many of those awfully close moments. And on Eberhardt's first clean lap, 0.02 of a second slower than Danson, the race leader continues to pull. Here's an onboard look with Gary Weaver. We saw him in a bunch of battles earlier. He's in another one now in a fight with Kalis, Coyle, and company. There's your look, Wes. He uses those VR goggles, left-hand side of your screen, and a little bit loose that time at a turn 4 as he's trying to get back up to 19th on Kaczynski, but you got to keep the car underneath you on corner exit first.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the throttle and be careful of the other cars too. Lachinsky has been kind of slow and been kind of loose, and he almost got collected in a wreck. That was hairy for the guys right behind him, including Dylan Coyle, who's trying to go underneath Gary Weaver right now.
Sound like a good jingle. These guys are going at it. It's some 24 seconds off of the race lead. But definitely what I'm noticing looking at these battles, Jonathan, is that consistency is what they're struggling with, right? Kaczynski's deep into the corners. Gary Weaver sideways off of the turns. And that's how you get these big groups stacked up, is you don't have consistent lap times being put down. It's someone's going to make a mistake, they're going to lose the spot. The next lap, the other guy makes a mistake, they try to pass them back. That's how you get these pockets of, 5, 6 cars that seem to be unable to separate themselves from one another.
Yeah, but those are always the fun battles, though. The ones where they're both sliding back and forth, maybe banging doors every once in a while. Those are the battles that we want to see. But right now, it looks like the 30's been able to get himself a little bit under control. The problem is, you can see in the background there are some other cars, and they may get lapped soon, and this is not as thick as we, again, normally would expect. But it's still going to be an issue because there's not many much passing lanes for our leaders to go once they get this group, as Weaver goes underneath the 30 car.
Race leader's going to be catching up to them. They're about 6 seconds behind. At the current difference in speed, they'll get there in probably 6 or 7 laps or so. And you can see the side-by-side now as Weaver nearly under fire by Kaczynski, but he does get the spot to move Garrett to 19th. And that's a really low move.
Wow,
the 23. Okay. Matthew Mara drove it in real shallow, bullied Dylan Coyle out of the way. It works for the moment. He's got the spot. Dylan, you want to take that same entry approach next time?
I don't want to damage the car. He's going really low, though, which is not a style I'd like to take. I was close to following Gary out of this pack, but I don't know. Kaczynski's been a little bit of a roadblock, and Mara, well, that was brash.
To say the least. Mara started in 16th spot, right now runs in the number 21 position, so has, in theory,
I feel like he's
more
blocking
speed.
me in a way. I'm about to go last right now.
That's Kalis behind you for the last spot on the lead lap. The number 43 car looking to the inside. Of the 26 who started this race, 3 of them are out of the Liam Sheen, Dominic Howe, Steve Soa have all gone to the garage. We are still caution-free, though, to this point. So some of those drivers towards the back of the field have really struggled. I know Soa hit the fence back on lap number 24. That's why he went to the garage. So drivers at the back really having a rough go.
It's about to get a lot rougher, too, because there's Matt Danson.
Yeah, I don't feel uncomfortable. It's just very difficult to pass.
New Hampshire. Maybe one of the reasons why it's not always on the RSR calendar is because it's not necessarily an edge-of-your-seat thrill ride. But it is a challenge. It is a challenge for the drivers. And there is something to be said about having tracks that are just hard to drive. I think a good combination of hard and fun maybe Lucas Oil Raceway coming up next Monday night here on RaceSpotTV. That'll be a fun one. First trip there in the RSR IWRAPS Winter Series in-series history for round number 7. So that's going to be a good show. But at least here tonight for the Magic Mile, look at this 3 wide in the corner with your race leader, Matt Danson. He is 2.6 seconds ahead of Eberhard in second. So we thought maybe he was going to be a little bit more conservative getting through traffic. But he gets by Kahlist. Now on the inside of the 23 Amara, doesn't seem to be too afraid of these lapped cars to him that are battling for position while he tries to get past them.
I will say I will not move out of my way if I'm in a battle, which I'm in.
You're next. Danson gets by the 23, so the battle for the lucky dog right now between Kahlist and Mara, and I think this whole group going to be kind of the battle for the lucky dog spot if we were to see one. 32 laps into this race already, quarter distance in the IWRAPS 125. Minus some scares, maybe, Jonathan, on that opening lap, but that group 5th on the back, it's been pretty clean, I will say. And now Danson going to go by and make the pass on the 79. Next up is Michael Kaczynski. We were talking earlier, and you said the over-under on yellows was 6 or 7. I think the question may have to be, how many cars on the lead lap over under 6 or 7 when this one's done? Because Danson is good, but he has lost a lot of time, I should note, getting through that traffic. That 2.6 second advantage is down to 0.9 to Daniel Eberhard. So Danson's through the thick of it. He'll start to pick back up time. Eberhard's still in there. He's got 2 more cars to get past, so he'll lose a bit of time in turn, but Eberhard did do a lot more of an efficient job with this traffic than Matt Danson did.
It's always easier when you're the second place car, because when you're the leader, they're fighting to stay on the lead lap. When you're the second place car, they're like, well, I've already lost that fight. I got to kind of give it up. And also, you can really follow Danson and Eberhard. Really good job has dispatched some of these lap traffic cars, but Dylan Coyle probably not in the recommended spot. He's trying to battle 2 other cars, while there's a battle with 2 lead lap cars right around him as Freenage is now right behind him.
Could be battle for 2nd and 3rd, while the lapped cars battle for 20th and 21st position, depending on how that shakes out. As you can see, Mara back there still doing the battle, but Daniel Eberhard is through minus Kaczynski. Once he gets by Kaczynski, he'll have cleared all the traffic, and he lost 0.3 that last lap. The gap goes from 0.9 to 1.2. May not lose a ton here because it looked like Kaczynski got out of his way. Here's a good duo, though, for 12th and 13th position. 2 drivers who we mentioned a little bit earlier, but haven't talked a ton about them tonight. Aaron Weinmaster and Mariusz Leszczynski doing battle. Leszczynski up the road in the 03 truck, and Weinmaster, you're on the board with him in 13th. They've only passed each other. That's the only thing these two have done in this race. Leszczynski was where Weinmaster was. Weinmaster was where Leszczynski was. It's kind of been a 2-way battle, and they're in a bit of a bubble, admittedly. 2nd ahead of the car behind them and 3 seconds behind the car in front.
Yeah, but this is, I think, what we were kind of expecting with this smaller field, is that this midfield was going to space out, have a bit more room to breathe, and I think for someone like Weinmaster, who's been in the thick of things the past few weeks, and Leszczynski for good measure, this is probably another sigh of relief that we can run a nice, smooth, clean race and just pick our battles.
And now you're at the point where it feels like a bit of endurance, right? If you're fortunate enough to not be in those kind of clusters of cars, there's a battle between Garrett Hess and Dylan Jones for 16th and 17th. There's the battle between Stephen Price and Price gives it to the 48 there. That was Weinmaster, who just drove it into his quarter panel. And they both did a good job of hanging on, and now they're side by side again. So a bit of fireworks for 13th and 14th. So aside from these guys who are running each other over, if you're on your own, you can kind of focus on saving the tires, making it to a pit stop, and kind of reverse engineering this race, because it looks like it has a real good chance of going green. Minus what those two just did.
You say that, but it's going to come harder and harder to pass as these tires wear off, and I think Stephen Price just proved it right there. Just overcooked it and almost turned the 48. I'm pretty sure both of them are not going to be happy with each other later on, and if they get together later on, 22 may not want to be near the 48, but it's going to get harder and harder to pass, and I think that's going to be even more of an issue, especially as the lap traffic gets, you know, to like the 3rd and 4th and 5th area, because they're even slower than the leaders.
There's a good look at Price. At that point, he's locked up. He knows that he overdrove the corner and tried to get on the brakes to not get Winemaster. Got him in the quarter panel. They both go for a nice slide, and good piece of driving for both of those drivers to hang on to it and keep this race green, which is basically now 1/3 of the distance through. So is it going to be just, Dylan, a one-stop race? Is that the idea here?
I think so. How's my rear damage look? I just got almost spun right there.
Let's see. I think we got a second look at the bit of contact down into 1. That's the 43 of K-List on the bumper. A touch, a slide. It looked pretty good. The quarter panel, I think you're missing a bit of paint, but I don't see anything too bad.
That. You just dented my paint.
Yeah.
Just think of it, it's job security. If he keeps messing up the paint schemes, you got to keep painting them.
Now, was it me that messed it up? That's the question.
No, it's just becoming harder to pass, and I think the 43 is looking inside, and
it was very similar to those other two. They go to the inside, the car just doesn't turn.
Which is why I've been trying to cover the 2nd and 3rd grooves. I consider New Hampshire a 5-groove track with only 2 of them that actually work. And I am in the 3rd groove right here. I know Nieto's right there.
Yeah, watch out. That's a fast race car. Sam Nieto, 4th on track, flying through the field. He's been pretty quiet tonight after falling off of the 3rd spot. He's some 10 seconds off of the race lead. Frinage still 3rd. That's very comfortably. So 3rd looks like worst case scenario in this race for Frinage if this race were to go green. But Daniel Eberhardt has been closing on Danson. See, top of your screen, 0.6 of a second. All the intervals for 1, 2, 3, 4 up there at the moment. He has been one of the best cars on track. And, you know, we saw Danson rip off 2 race wins in a row, back-to-back at Michigan International Speedway. And then when we headed out north of the border to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve at Montreal, Eberhardt, race winner last week at Iowa. Maybe an opportunity to go back-to-back in his own respect. We talked about that points deficit. I think Eberhardt could win every race for the rest of this season and still not win the championship, which kind of puts an onus on just how much that bit of a slow start hurt him, because since then he has been spectacular. But it doesn't mean he's not going to try to put it to these guys to make a statement, and he's the best car on track as of the last 5 to 10 laps-ish.
Well, I think when we're looking both at the 05 and the 90, and when we've talked to him, when they've won the races and got on the top 3, Eberhardt sounds like he's really doing this for himself. He's trying to get better at tire saving. He's trying to get faster. He's trying to catch those front guys. He's really focused on making himself a better driver. And then when we talked to Matt, he said, not considering him a championship contender kind of hurt him a little bit, and he wants to put a statement on this season. And right now he is. He's been the dominant car so far today. But this is going to be an epic fight between these two. And if something goes wrong, Frinage is there to pick up the scraps. But Frinage, we talked about his dominance, and right now he's just been a top 10 car, been a top 5 car. He's finished top 10 in every race so far. So it's, I don't know, just maybe a good points day for the 88 if he can't really catch these two.
He has been very good, very consistent, right? He is the only driver who has finished top 10 in every single race. Second highest goes to Danson with 4. Danson, though, has more top 5s than Frinage, 4 top 5s to 3. Michael Araya also with 3 top 5s, tied for second most in the series. So in any other season, Frinage has done enough, right? He's holding off Laraya, he's holding off Eberhardt, the Trudells, the Joneses. Those are the guys that he had to deal with this past season in the Full Throttle Cup Series powered by Boosted. But with Matt Danson entering the picture, just good is not going to be good enough for Frinage. He needs to be perfect, which he has been several times in the past. He won this championship last year by more than 100 points to the next driver in second. He is not going to beat out third in the points by more than 100. So the difference maker is Danson here. He is pushing Frinage to be better. But it's not just Danson 1 and Frinage 2, right? Eberhardt's outrunning him. So I don't know what Andrew Friedrich needs to figure out, but his hopes of a third straight Winter Series title get more, kind of bleak and bleak as the weeks go on.
Well, I think it's just everyone looking at that 88 and going, how can we beat him? How can we get faster? And, these races are broadcast, and people race in these races and save the replays, and you have to learn and study, what makes their car better. And the car has changed a lot, too. Different tire models, different, tracks have been updated in the series. It looks like Eberhard is getting closer to the 05, and it's going to be an intense battle going into 3.
Looking to the inside in turn 3 at lap 50, but Danson will not cut him a break. Now Eberhard drives it in a little bit harder. We've seen how tough it's been later in this run for cars to make the bottom stick. The outside should be better on the runoff of 4, and it is. So Danson defends the battle for the race lead for the moment. Eberhard drops 2 car lengths back, but he overdrove it. Danson way too deep into 1. Eberhard alongside, opened up the door, slow off at 2, and a new race leader at lap number 51, Daniel Eberhard to the point.
Yeah, that was just a matter of time. That 90 car has been lurking. It's been closing and closing and closing, and finally got him. But this lap traffic could still put Eberhard in a bit of a bind.
He's got to get around Winemaster in the number 48 machine. That'll put the 17th placed car 1 lap down, and that puts Garrett Hess as the last driver on the lead lap, running in the number 16 position at the moment. But Eberhard clear of Danson. Now we'll see if he pulls away from him at the same rate at which he closed in. And in theory, looking at a one-stop race now, with 73 laps to go on the board, we're about 10 laps away from midway. That's when the numbers would say to come down and pit. So maybe Danson, Farinaj, somebody else goes for the undercut to get a bit of time, and maybe that'll shuffle up the running order into the second half of this race. Picking up a fight with the 22 of Stephen Price, fighting with Mariusz Leszczynski. Price just made the pass on him for P12.
Yeah, 22's been on the move, and with authority, didn't mean to actually get into the 48 when he passed him, but this 22 has been fast and could, quietly pick up a top 10 here if he plays his cards right.
Leszczynski's been in this area of the racetrack all night. Remember a little bit earlier we were talking about the battle that he was having with, I believe it was the 12th place starter, Yaron Winemaster, who's kind of now fallen way off of the back. So at least he's been able to be more consistent than that, but clearly Price, who's been very quiet tonight, admittedly until now, did a very good job of saving and conserving that race car as he started 24th and is up to position number 12. That plus 12 is second best only to Kyle Kamer, who's gained 13 spots and runs a few spots ahead of him in position number 10.
And those guys have been making the pass. If you look right here, Trudell's trying to look for a way around Braxton Deweese. Deweese trying to recover from that horrible first few laps where he almost got into the wall, almost got turned, almost got freight trained. It was a rough first few laps of the number 3, but working his way back now, and he's going to have to try and defend the 7 until pit stop, which is another 10 or so laps away.
What a big slide I just saw for the corner there for Dylan back there in that battle for 21st and 22nd. But we're watching a battle between Deweese and Trudell here. Trudell on the move, Deweese kind of stationary. But Deweese was in some of those close moments early in this race, and Trudell wants to make moves. I mean, this is the part of the track where there's positions to be had, right? We talk about how far ahead first and second are. Here comes Trudell to the inside on Deweese, and he will make the pass, give him position number 6, so clear him off of 4, and there it is. There's more to be had for Trudell here. Second up the road is Lariah, another 2 seconds is Nieto, but again, that's kind of it, because that's where you hit a big gap, and then it's 8 seconds between Nieto in 4th and Andrew Friedrich in 3rd, who don't look now. The better cars for the last several laps has been Andrew Friedrich running in 3rd. So pit stops though, we have a taker. Nick Mara is down pit road, just shy, about by 5 laps or so of halfway. So does this open up the fuel window for drivers to come in and get serviced?
And this could be one of the key parts of the race. We saw at Michigan when there was green flag pit stops. the race was decided on when Danson and Freenach were pitting, and they almost got into each other. So this could still, prove very, very valuable, especially since Danson has not been dropped by Eberhardt. Eberhardt was faster, but Danson's still lurking in the mirrors.
So their service is completed for the 32 machine. No funny business for Dick Ibarra. In fact, a pretty quick 4-tire stop. He spends 39.9 seconds total on pit road. He'll blend himself back out onto the racetrack. Not bad. You'll lose a lap, basically, and maybe a lap and a half, lap and a quarter when you consider getting down to speed, getting up to speed. So you're not going to lose a ton by coming down to pit road. But you're on board with Danson. He has not allowed Daniel Eberhardt to pull away. First and second, separated by 0.4 of a second. Last lap, better than the 2 cars up the road, was Freenach again, getting the gap from third down to 1.4 seconds. And it's funny, only Andrew Freenach could have run third in a race and us sound all doom and gloom upstairs, right, Jonathan? I mean, anybody else would kill to be a top 3 car weekly in this series. Add Dylan to that list as well. And he's good on the long run, so I'm never going to count him out. It's 4 points coming into this evening. Even if they finished as they run now, it would be a minimal increase. I think it would still probably be single-digit differences into the next round. If Danson runs good, 9 points, 8 points, whatever, is a lot. But like what happened to Freenach earlier this year at Montreal, 1 bad cycle exchange, 1 speeding penalty, 1 wreck, right? I mean, any moment can make 9 feel a lot smaller than it would be if everybody runs as we expect them. So that's why we're not calling nothing until we hand out the hardware at Las Vegas later this year. More pit stop takers. The number 48 at Yaron Winemaster is down pit road. We've also seen Kaczynski and the Maras on pit road. So a handful of drivers in, but no race leaders. Next time by, we will be halfway home from New Hampshire.
I'm talking about Freenach, we're talking about third place, it's almost like a doom race for him. It's not. It's like when Formula One we talk about Lewis Hamilton not winning, almost. It's just something that we haven't seen in a while. And I think why it's key is that for the past few weeks, it's just Danson's been nickel and diming Freenach, getting those few extra points, that 1 extra position. Because right now, that's really where most of that difference lies.
See the big pack on the right-hand side of your screen. That's all behind the 03 of Mariusz Leszczynski. But they're going to gain a handful of spots because of all those cars down pit road. Michael Laraya is down, so is Ross Cato, so is Jeremy E. Miller. So a lot of drivers in for service from the back half of the top 10. Who makes the move first up front? If Freenach needs an instant 1.6 seconds, does he come down? The fall-off has been just under 2 seconds. It's been close to 1.7 to 1.8 seconds. The lap times they are running now, that longer, slower than what they did at the very start of this run. So in theory, Freenach can pit a lap earlier, get the undercut, get the track position right away. Matt Danson could do the same thing. So does somebody make one of those plays from the top 3? As Eberhardt, far better that last lap, actually now pulls a little bit more on Danson, who you're on board with.
It's going to matter where they come back out in traffic as well, because you're going to want to use these fresh tires in clean air. You're not going to want them to overtake traffic or to overtake cars that have already pitted. You're going to need them right away.
See how careful he's got to be before he gets fully back onto the throttle. Lap traffic as well in the mix here. That is the 79 machine of Dylan Coyle.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I would have any shot of staying just a lap down and staying out. So didn't work out for me. I'm going to have to go into the pits now, and I'm going to have lost a lot of time here to the guys I was fighting.
Worth fighting for it. Might as well try something. We've seen that many a times. More pit stops. Leszczynski is down. DeWeese is down. Some more drivers for the tail end of the top 10 are down pit road. Dylan Coyle as well, just now getting onto the pit lane. For, if this race can stay green, the one and only pit stop necessary and a green flag race here in this IWRAPS 125. And yes, it's very easy to oversimplify it and say simply, pit earlier, you get the advantage, right? As Kyle Trudell, here's a big move from P6, is down pit road. But of course, if you pit earlier, you're going to have the worst tires later. So that's why the leaders may be playing this three-way game of chicken, as Friedage has really fallen off the last few laps from 1.4 seconds off of the race lead to 2.2 seconds off of the race lead, aren't necessarily going to jump to be the first ones to come down pit road because they want to have good tires late. And listen, things are going well. They don't want to risk going a lap down by pitting and then a yellow trapping them down there either.
Well, if all three of these drivers are confident in the long run, I think that's another key thing that we have to talk about here, is that if they're confident in the long run and they're confident with their lap times and still gaining some time, then there's really no harm in them, especially if it's just these three fighting for the win. Now, in other battles, in Dylan's case, him staying out may have cost him a few positions. However, he's going to have fresher tires later on, so he'll come back at them. So it's just kind of a matter of who's pitting where, and since no one from the lead three has jumped, it's kind of a question mark right now. Whoever jumps first is going to decide it.
And it's a waiting game,
Get
a game of chicken.
out of the way, guys.
Oh, look, here we go, roll reversal. Number 79 of Machine.
Too
trying
slow.
to blow past the 88. Yeah, Friedage, she's holding it up. As
I need
these
to take some
faster
pictures of
cars.
this.
I know, and there's another one. As we watch the battle for the race lead, same thing happening right now with Nick Ibarra, right? Nick Ibarra just came down pit road.
I'm a legend.
He's got fresher tires. So does Sean Kalis. They're trying to pass first and second, but they're being very careful, Jonathan, to not interfere with this battle for the lead. If they want it, they could blow right by him, but they're trying to find an opening, and as Danson looks to the inside of Eberhardt for the lead, Mara just abandoned any thought of going to the bottom there.
I'd like to see them keep trying to be kind, because it helps when I'm trying to fight K-List right here for position.
Told you it'd work. I think the issue also is that these two still have to pit, so Mara has to be concerned about if Eberhardt or Danson just all of a sudden gets out of the throttle in 3 and 4 and tries to come down pit road. Like, they're going to have no space or time to react, even.
Well, you better tell him.
Say it.
We've
like
seen
right
some moves. Yeah, in the past, Dylan's down the party, so 3 lapped cars, but with fresh tires,
This
stuck
is fun.
behind a battle for the race lead. We've seen incidents happen before where something wasn't communicated, somebody tried to pit, and there was a car there, and you can see Dylan not as polite maybe as the 32 and the 43. He'll get around
not.
both of them.
What are you doing, man? What was
What
that?
am I doing? I'm making moves.
I'm surprised you're not like on the out of your seat, Evan. Like he just put over 3 wide, and then basically brake checked the 32.
I'm trying to get laps back here.
I think you've been used up a bit tonight as well, so I'm not sure how inclined you're going to be to be polite to some of the other lapped cars. Given plenty of room, though, to Danson, who you're by. Daniel Eberhardt, not quite. He's still there down the back, but you'll clean that up in 3, although he got quite the run off of the corner, so you don't want to be in between an Eberhardt and Danson sandwich.
I don't. I'm going all the way to the bottom to give them the most room, but yep. I'm not playing games. I'm back in 22nd. I'm not playing games, guys.
Sam Nieto's down pit road from position 6, so more of your lead cars start to trickle down to the pit lane, and you have inspired these other lapped cars to make moves, because now Nick Ibarra has made a pass on Danson. He now has to get around the 90, and that third car in this trio you got Lariah back there, you've got Kalis, so Lariah's making more aggressive moves, but he is only 1 lap down versus 3 laps down for Kalis. So you got lap cars to the inside, to the outside of the leaders, and there it is. Danson to pit road. What a slide, but I think he made speed.
Vin Diesel would like to phone call him and to audition for the next Fast and the Furious movie. That was an incredible save by the 05 machine.
And got it right down to 45 miles an hour pit road speed right at the line.
Eberhardt
Did he
is
lose
pitting
time by locking that up? Daniel Eberhardt is going to respond to the pit stop by Danson, saying that he's going to come down pit road over the text chat. There's a slow-mo look at Danson's sideways move, and honestly, a real good job of not even locking up the tires. So Danson on pit road, 4 tires into fuel. He is off and away. 37.3 seconds on pit road for Danson. Only 14.9 seconds on the pit stop. That was very efficient. Now let's watch Eberhard right-hand side while we track on the left side where Danson's going to cycle out to.
I'm really enjoying not being the slowest out of everybody on track.
Oh, don't look now. The 05's on fresh tires.
Yeah, it'll all flip at about 40 laps. There's the pit stop.
I know.
For Eberhard, 38.2 on pit road and 15.2 in the stall. And there it is. Danson passing Eberhard on the pit cycle and will cycle back and around him. So that 1 lap difference for the moment puts Danson back ahead with that 90% of Daniel Eberhard after they were nose to bumper for the battle for the race lead. Not everybody has cycled through quite yet, though. Still waiting on Farinaj, Kamer, and Jones to come down pit road. A big bonus point has been secured by Andrew Farinaj, I should say, by staying out beyond Daniel Eberhard and Matt Danson and leading a lap. So he'll get 1 bonus point. And maybe now saying over the radio that he is coming down pit road. Once he, Kamer, and Jones pit, the race lead will cycle to Kyle Trudell, who is one of the first lead cars who came down pit road. But I don't know if Trudell's going to make it that far, because see Danson in the 05? Well, there's the 7 of Trudell. So the battle for the net race lead, left-hand side of your screen, Danson's going to get him this lap.
I don't think the 7's going to put up much of a fight either.
The drag race down the back straightaway, but the bottom's going to work just oh so good for the 05. Give the spot to Danson. He is now up to position number 4. It's the highest of the drivers who have already pitted. You can see Farinaj in the stall, right-hand side of your screen. He is getting his service. Kyle Kamer, new race leader, yet to pit. Dylan Jones yet to pit. Everybody else has been down except for Gary Weaver in 17th.
I cannot wait for Danson
all those guys to come back. They're fresh tires.
To fly by me. They're not going to be nice to me now.
Kamer in from the race lead. He makes his stop at the completion of lap number 79. Dylan Jones also down pit road off of 4. That was real tight with you directly behind him. Danson there as well, and he almost drove himself into the pit road wall, but did get it down to speed. So everybody has come to pit road for service. Everybody should now be good to the end of your leaders. Again, still waiting on Hess to pit and then Gary Weaver, but not in a factor for the battle for the race win. So the left-hand side, now there it is, big picture. This is the battle for the race win at New Hampshire. 45 laps to go, this time by basically even on tires. What a battle between Danson and Eberhard.
Now they got clear track ahead as well. The lap traffic helped Eberhard, but Eberhard's going to go down the inside. It's going to be risky. He's going to burn a lot of the tires trying to get to the underside of Danson right there.
It is a nice view that's going to end in a few laps' time that I've got right now, both of them fighting.
And you've got P3 Trudell behind you. Something else to note with how long Farinaj stayed out. Farinaj fell to 8th in the running order, just got past Cato, so he's up to 7th. Farinaj is 7.8 seconds off of the race lead. We went from talking about maybe an undercut putting him to the race lead to the overcut putting him well back. He'll have fresh tires, but I don't think he'll climb back to where these two are. Eberhard searching all the way down the back, won't do it. Now to the inside as Danson goes a little bit wide, side by side for the race lead. There's traffic up the road. Danson trying to hold the outside strong.
Yeah, but now there's going to be a problem. There's going to be lap traffic now. They had some clean space, but now they're running out of it.
And that 30 car trying to get up the road. They're going to squeeze 3 wide as Kaczynski holds the outside. Danson knows this could be the moment that this checkered flag is decided. Eberhard again to the inside, and Danson's given him enough space to make that work. He's not all the way down on the very bottom line up against the yellow, but the top's still better. They touch off of 4. The lapped car and Matt Mara gets out of the way. But Danson holds off a fight for now with 42 laps to go.
Yeah, Eberhard a good save there. They got into each other. I'm not sure if there's much damage on that right front. It may affect the 90s handling a little bit. We'll have to see.
There's a second look off of turn number 4. Oh, definitely touched. That was Eberhardt into the back of Danson as he kind of tried to tuck back in line after Danson stayed in front. Now Danson, notice how they're not side by side. He's down into the lane that Eberhardt was in. He wants to be lower in the corner, but with the ability to go to the outside off. And now Eberhardt again showing a nose to the inside. Tucks back in line. We saw that mistake earlier where Danson had held him off, but then Jonathan overdrove the corner like he was spending too much time looking in the mirror or just missed it. And that's how Eberhardt got right there alongside it with him. Maybe all these kind of flashing to the inside, sticking a nose out, making him sweat is to see if he can force Danson into another mistake.
Yeah, it's going to be... I think this is all mind games right now for Eberhardt. He knows he's been faster the longer this run goes on. I think this is just kind of a, I'm still here, don't forget about me. You're not going to be in a safe, comfortable position, which I think right now is working definitely to the 90s favor.
And you can see third in this shot, that all-white car. May think that is Farinaj, but that is Dylan Jones. Just to clarify, we're used to seeing an all-white Chevy of Farinaj lurking in third tonight. That is first car, one lap down, Dylan Jones, who would benefit from a lucky dog. But Farinaj has made his way back to third, so he gave up a whole bunch of time and positions. He fell back to P8, but he's driven his way back to third. Oh, and a car into the wall. Michael Kaczynski nearly just knocked the fence down. There's no yellow, though. We're fine, but I saw that on one of my other monitors. He just drove
there goes
the wall and now
Eberhardt
battle for the lead. Yeah, side by side.
Oh, he's
Danson gonna hang it out side by side in two as the battle for the race lead races on. Eberhardt now a nose in front in turn number 3. He'll slide up to take the line. Eberhardt, new race leader once more at lap 88, gets it done on Danson.
Danson's got to run, though. He came down, got a late exit point, but Eberhardt's going to send her down into one and make sure that does not happen.
But now we are back to where we were at the end of the first field run. Eberhardt having just executed a pass on Danson, a pass that Danson wasn't able to return the favor to. But he passed him back after pitting first on the green flag cycle of pit stops. But on that last run, when this pass happened, Danson did not fall off. He stayed parked there within about 3 to 4 car lengths to the pit stop point. This is a much longer run, 35 to go to the end. When that pass happened, it was closer to 15 or 10 laps, the pit cycle. So Eberhardt, in theory, getting better as this race goes on and should be able to run away with this as long as he can kind of resist the urge of pushing to get some intervals now at the expense of burning up the tires, because 35 laps to go is still more than half a fuel run.
The other thing, too, is we go side by side, we see Kalis and Lachinsky on the right side. The other thing, too, is, well, look at the track. You just have Dylan Jones. That's pretty much it for what the cars are around him right now. By the end of this race, they're going to catch lap traffic again, or at least pockets of it. So that may still play in Danson's favor as the 30 gets up into the wall again. He's maybe to just be trying to limp home.
He's had a couple of close calls. I know, Dylan, you saw at least one of them.
Yes, multiple, actually, within the past few laps. He's having a rough go. I wonder if there's any right side damage that's slowing him down massively and maybe affecting his braking.
He has some damage as well, so every time you miss the corner and get into the wall, things are only going to get worse and worse as you kind of pile that damage on. Just looking at some of the intervals, good battle 5 and 6. Michael Arias, Sam Nieto, you got Kyle Trudell, so kind of a trio for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Let's ride with Sam Nieto for a couple of laps around the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He's P6, trying to chase down Michael Arias and Kyle Trudell. Easy does it when he made that move to get around the last position there with Michael Araya, but maybe a little bit longer of a run needed to catch up to Kyle Trudell there. Last couple of laps, the advantage has been in favor of Nieto by about a tenth or 2/10 as Nick Mara back down pit road. He's only been out there for 38 laps.
I was trying to chase him.
Back in. So there's a spot for you.
I'm not sure exactly what happened to him there.
Didn't see any heavy damage. I wonder if there was some sort of, I don't know how you could have done it, but maybe didn't get it fully fueled up. I know it's default set to full fuel and tires. So we've seen drivers accidentally take, fuel if they didn't want it and, only wanted to splash. And we've seen drivers accidentally take tires when they didn't because those are the default sets when you pit. But you don't normally not get enough or, not get the tires you need. But clearly something with Mara. And he was in a pretty good spot. I mean, he was up, but both the Maras get a pit, Nick and Matt Mara. So that would lead me to believe that it was scheduled if both of the Mara Motorsports are in at the same time.
They were also the first two down pit road when the cycle began, so I'm wondering if they were worried about not making it to the end, if they short-killed it maybe, or this is just the strategy of just take a two-stop and kind of just, let the race come to you, just drive it as best as you can.
That's Kaczynski in the number 21 position. Half of the field on the lead lap. The other half of the field is off. So 13 of the 26 cars who started this race still on the lead lap. Going to be close to maybe, my guess would be the top 10 will finish on the lead lap in this race by the time it actually ends. And in the home stretch now, 26 laps to go this time by for Daniel Eberhardt. Danson's done a very good job of kind of staying with him. You can see at the top, Danson has the best lap out of anybody tonight with a 39.05, but Eberhardt better when it mattered the most. They are so even right now. Again, that's Jones as a lapped car, not in this battle for the lead, but Frenage is closer than he's been all run. If we can see him, maybe. No, I didn't catch him there at a 2. He's 3.7 seconds back, so he's not close enough to be in the shot, but it was once upon a time 8 seconds. We'll see him here. There he is, that second white car. He is better than those lead two, but I don't think it's at an interval at which he will win this race. Ferdinand is going to finish kind of status quo P3, where he's been for most of it.
Yeah, but something that we need to know, that I noted earlier a bit, was the traffic, and here it comes. We have 2 lap cars right in front. Gary Weaver, I believe, is the first one that Eberhardt's going to reach, and then you see like a gaggle of like 6 or 7 as another car peels off for pit that are not too far ahead of the 90, so it's going to be a bit of a, I think, a bit of a challenge to get through here. Danson may still have a few passing opportunities.
And what happened last time they were in traffic? Danson was the lead car, and he struggled much more than Eberhardt did as the trail car.
And I enjoyed that.
Yeah, Durham's going to make it real easy on these two. He goes to the outside, so no events there. Next up the road is Garrett Hess. That should be relatively uneventful just because Hess is on his own. And give a call to the double O machine to Garrett Hess, who started 18th and rides in 16th. I don't think we've talked much, if at all, about him tonight. He's just going to mind his P's and Q's, picked up 2 spots and stayed out of trouble. So we'll give a call to him. But being one car should be easy enough for the leaders to find a spot. He'll go up and into the granite. Benani in the 05 going to get on by without issue. But then it's the next set where it's Price, Leschinski, Miller, Winemaster, Weaver, Mara, all back to back to back to back. Same group of cars that they had to deal with on that first run. A little bit more spread out now than they were. None of those cars are side by side, but with our leaders nose to tail, they're going to feel pressured to be a little bit more aggressive. Here's Danson on the counterattack, back to the inside of Daniel Eberhardt. Wants the race lead back for his own. They touch in 2. They're door banging for P1.
Yeah, he's trying to push him to the bottom as much as he could, but I think Danson's there to stay.
I feel like having the low line is not exactly the best if you're trying to make a move, and if you do make it, you're going to have to worry about that tire wear, because being on the bottom chews out so much of the rubber that you have in these Goodyear tires.
I'm assuming you're hoping Danson and Eberhardt are listening?
Well, it's
No.
won by the car on the outside. So just as you say, bottom prevails in that scenario. Eberhard defends on Danson for the moment. They did touch, though, so I wonder if we'll see more of that as this race goes on. 20 laps to go this time by.
That's crazy. This race has felt so quick, just like Iowa. After some wreck-filled races before, it's just been, I mean, no time to catch your breath in terms of cautions here. Would have been nice to be able to take a momentary kind of break to relax, think about strategy as I have to deal with Kyle Kammer hammering down the inside. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
How do I remove him from the game chat?
Yeah, that's fine. That'll be a post-race penalty. We'll talk about that more.
Okay.
In the post-race review. Good news is after, talking about incidents and reviews and stuff, after a messy race at Montreal, it wasn't ugly, but there was a lot of drivers who struggled, and in that race, everybody got a penalty point if they had more than 10 incidents. There was a lot of drivers kind of on the hot seat with some penalty points, but pretty clean race, all things considered, at Iowa. Caution-free so far here tonight. A lot of drivers getting themselves off the naughty list just in time for the holiday season. As of course, you don't want to accrue too many of those. You get 6, you're parked for a week. I'll say it tonight because I feel like there may be some names going on that list after our trip to IRP next Monday.
How many do you need to get coal in your stocking? I know Christmas has already passed, but are you going to give out any coal?
We'll have to retroactively go back and hand it out. I feel like we're going to need a lot for that race. I go back to what I said earlier, right? New Hampshire, not a short track on paper, but it races like one. But it's a tough track for the drivers, not a thrilling track all the time to look at. At Lucas Oil, don't matter what happened. There's going to be excitement if it's a good battle for the lead, if it's the guys in the back trying to kill each other, whatever's happening. That'll be a show. And it's our first trip there to the short track just outside of Indianapolis, so you're going to want to watch that one. But tonight, at least, it's been a great race. Caution-free through now 109 laps of competition and a battle for the lead throughout all of it. At no point tonight has a race leader had an advantage, I think, bigger than about 1.6, 1.8 seconds. It has all been in touch. Danson is sideways off at turn 4, coming to 16 laps to go, trying to not let Eberhard get away. And there's that traffic up the road. They are starting to fight with one another. Winemaster and Price doing battle. So it could be tricky for these lead cars.
And those two have been doing battle before, and those two almost turned each other before, so I'm pretty sure that's going to be a bit of a heated discussion as Winemaster almost blocks the 90 machine going into 3 and 4. This is going to be difficult for Eberhard to get around now.
Now, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that they're going to deal with.
Can I just say, Nick Mara, what an unbelievable call, because he just blew by me. Remember, when he went into the pits, he was 3 seconds in front of me. I have not gone into the pits. Now he's about 4 seconds in front of me. So what a strategy call there. And I was actually looking at replicating that just so I don't get picked off here. But there's just not enough time to make that strategy work. Great call there for the Mara brothers.
A good call by Mara Motorsports. He could get as high as maybe 17th might be a bit tough. So I think at 18th or so, going to be the place to be. And if necessary, if there's a yellow, he's only pitted twice. He still has a third and final set of extra tires. So it's not like he's gambling at all now. He would still be covered, just like everybody else would be, for a potential late race restart. And I say that only as we ride with Danson because of all that traffic up the road. They're going to have to deal with the 22 machine of Price, the 03 of Leszczynski, 27 of Miller, and that might be it. Don't know if they're going to get all the way up to Gary Weaver, who is 2 laps down in the number 21 spot.
And this ain't slow traffic either. This is, like, a 22 is not a slow race car. It's been putting times close to Eberhard and Danson, and it has been one of the biggest movers all night as here goes Eberhard to the inside.
And Danson has an opportunity. Does he throw it to the bottom? He thought about it, trying to go 3 wide and sneak to the inside of Eberhard, but can't make it stick. And it's going to hurt him here on the exit of turn 4. So Eberhard's lead will now grow to about 3 car lengths and 0.3 of a second. So Danson, they kind of forced that move. I don't really think he had a spot to make it happen. And now he's going to have to make up what he gave away. 11 laps to go next time.
Yeah, but there's still a little more traffic in front, but now that Eberhardt's a bit clear of Danson, you guys have an easier time getting around, but there's still always a chance for a caution. You know, 00 and the 48 are close, and Dylan C. Jones had a really tough move on the 22 just behind them. And kudos to Dylan Jones. He's been actually keeping pace with the 05 and the 90 much of this run.
Thought you were going to say
hanging out.
Thought you were going to say kudos to Dylan Coyle. He gained 1 spot from where he started this race.
It's wishful thinking.
When's
Dylan
Dega?
Jones. Yeah, well, we got a couple of Degas coming up. We got Throwback Dega on Wednesday and an Icebreaker Winter Series on January 18th, second last race of the regular season. On board with Jeremy Miller, here's the battle between he and Leszczynski for 11th and 12th position. It's a battle for position and for the final spot on the lead lap. So this will be an awfully tough duo for the leaders to get through. There's a bit of a shot. Leszczynski giving it to the bumper of Miller.
Yeah, the iRacing
here comes Eberhardt.
The bump and run, and I think the 03 is going to want to do it now while the 90 and the 05 are behind him.
You can see as Eberhard is on them, there's nowhere to go, especially when that 03 Leszczynski was looking on the bottom to make a move. And Eberhard has pulled on Danson, so he can't blow it here. He needs to get by these cars without losing too much time. And on board with Danson, look how Danson closes. It's a roadblock in front of Eberhard, nowhere to go. Here comes the 05 now.
27 got in the wall for good measure, and now it's going to be a bit dicey for the 90s. Not going to have the preferred high line. And now there's even a slower car, that's Kalis in the 43, that could complicate both of them.
Oh no, that means he's coming up to me.
Kalis gonna squeeze the 03. There's room on the bottom for the 90. Danson gonna follow him through. Oh, and they touch! Kalis gets hit into the door of Eberhard. The 43 car is sideways in 1. He hangs on. No yellow, we're still green. Danson misses it in turn 2. Eberhard stretches the legs again. And after a heart-stopping moment, first and second are okay. The difference still just 3 car lengths.
Oh boy.
There was just not enough room between the 43 and the 90 to make that work. I don't think they really realized how close they were to each other. Eberhardt's trying to take as wide of a line as possible, keep the momentum.
Here's the second look. It's the lapped cars right there they touch. That's fully into Daniel Eberhard. Not only did Kalis do a good job right there of saving that car to not bring out a yellow, but so did Eberhard. He could have easily spun if that contact was maybe a little bit tougher. They may have been spun without much chance, but a great save by Eberhard. Stayed in the throttle and stayed ahead of Danson. 6 laps to go.
Now this becomes almost more of a dogfight. There's only 2 lapped cars, at least visible at the moment, and that's our very own Dylan Kohler and Gary Weaver, who are in a battle amongst themselves. But there's enough gap in between to fit these 2 battling for the lead in between them.
Going to see if more of those cars are a factor. I said I wasn't sure if they were going to get Weaver. Looks like they most definitely will. Coyle going to be the question mark if they get that far forward. And they are so even right now. Maybe a slight advantage to Eberhard the last lap. He did. He picked up 1/100th of a second. Danson needs to be a little bit closer, I think, if he wants that chrome horn to be an option. Eberhard looking for a second straight win. Danson looking for a 3rd in 6 starts.
Yeah, Gary Weaver does the nice thing, pulls out along the side. That leaves just Dylan Coyle, I think, in front. And then after that 79 machine, it might be smooth sailing, I think, for the 2 leaders.
Not a lot of traffic
I'm not
going to
fight them. But I will want to keep positionally my car so Weaver doesn't get into me. I'll let them go here.
There's 4 to go that time, and Dylan's now talking over the race radio saying take it on the back straightaway here. Danson's going to hang it out on the corner, get as optimal of a run as he can, then slice to the bottom, and now set back up. Is there going to be fireworks on the bumper? Matt Danson, 1 shot there in the center of the corner, but again, his kind of moves that he's making in 3 hurt him on the exit of 4. And for the bumper, to 2 car lengths off he goes. Going to be 2 laps to go the next time by, having to get to the white flag for this race to be official.
Using the bumper, especially here, definitely has its ups and downs. You know, you can move that machine out of the way, but he's not going to have a good enough run, I think, to make a move. it's going to be all about his consistency and how smooth he is these last 2 laps if he can close.
They both drove it real deep into 3 and 4, all the way up to the granite there. 3 lanes up off of the bottom. Popsicle sticks in the air. It's 2 laps to go from New Hampshire. Clean racetrack in front. So these two going to be able to settle it amongst themselves. Dancing now, slicing to the bottom, trying to dime in the corner a little bit. Gets the gap down to a car length, but again sideways off of 2.
He's driving the wheels off that thing. He's trying his hardest.
Looking to the outside, he'll try to cut low for 4. Daniel Eberhardt going to see the white flag 1 lap away from a second win this season. You can see Danson fighting with wheel 2 as he tries to turn it in. A good run off of the corner. Does he make a move in 3? He'll look to the inside. He'll stay square. There's a shot to the bumper. Danson moves Eberhardt. Looks to the inside, but the 90 car hangs back on, and Daniel Eberhardt wins at New Hampshire.
Brilliant effort from the 90 machine to hold off that 05. He was driving as hard as he could, and there he goes. A little early celebration spin right there.
Better there than on turn 4 on the last lap. Danson, to his credit, gave him a shot, but he didn't run him over.
So Gary got me on the last lap after I went wide, and I finished 20th. Not fun again.
Short tracks. Iowa. New Hampshire's not a short track. I get it.
It's a short track. It's a short track.
It races like one, so I'm going to count
it. A short state.
That's certainly an analogy. I haven't considered that in the criteria for a short track before. There's the celebration, though, on the front straightaway. Daniel Eberhardt now a back-to-back race winner in the RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series. And man, must he be thinking what could have been if this season had just started a little bit better. Let's take a look at tonight's full race results. It's Eberhardt, Danson, and Farinaj. 1, 2, and 3. We'll chat with all of them here in just a moment. With Sam Nieto and Kyle Trudell, your top 5. Michael Araya finishes in 6th with Raxa Deweese in 7th. Kyle Kamer 8th. Ross Cato 9th. And Eric Stanford in 10th.
Dylan C. Jones had a nice quiet drive to come home 11th in the 11 machine. Jeremy Miller got lapped in the 27, finishes 12th. Lashinsky in the 03 in 13th. Stephen Price was moving through the field as much as he could in 14th. Garrett Hess, a quiet race for the 00 in 15th. Steve Durham in 16th. Jaron Wymaster, we saw fighting in that midfield, drop off significantly in 17th. Nick Marr in 18th. Gary Weaver barely edging out Dylan Coyle at the end for 19th and 20th.
And then continuing on through Kalis, Tabara, and Kaczynski through 23rd. We're still in this race, caution-free through the entirety. And in the garage, Steve Soa, Dominic Howe, and Liam Sheen. So look top to bottom at your full race results for the Hampshire Motor Speedway. We'll take an opportunity to step aside, and when we come back, we'll talk with your top finishers and get you set for a real short track showdown next week at Lucas Oil Raceway. You're watching RaceSpotTV's coverage of the RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series post-race from Loudon when we get back.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
And back live from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where RaceSpotTV's coverage of the 2021 RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series continued with tonight's IWRAPS 125, where Daniel Epperhart is standing by in victory lane. We'll go trackside talk with him, the rest of your top finishers in just a moment. First, I want to welcome you back into the broadcast booth. Evan Pasoko, Jonathan Burke, along with our producer Hugo Luis and our RaceSpotTV in-race reporter Dylan Coyle. Dylan, a P20 here tonight from New Hampshire. Wanted to give you a chance to get your thoughts in as we move on to round 7.
You know, I have to remind myself that we are racing, or I am racing, against guys who are thousands of iRating points above me, and I'm not doing absolutely awful, and I am able to race some drivers, so that's at least a positive that I am on the track and staying clean for the most part. Just been a little bit, these middling races have frustrated me because I am not a short track racer. Still, I think the hardest part for me, at least, is going to be, you know, the pedals. Making sure I know when to put the brakes on, when and how much to press the throttle out of a corner. That's the harder parts for me, as it is for most people. So, you know what? I'm just looking forward to going weeks down the line. I believe it's Lucas Oil next week, and then the Indy Road Course, which I think I'll be decent at again, like Montreal, and then Dega. And Dega is all about survival, and Vegas is the last race. We've got 4 races left. That's amazing to me. And I guess, Evan, it's nice to say I'll be sticking around for the big series to provide some analysis in the car as well.
It'll be fun. You know, Cup Series action going to be starting literally the week after this Winter Series wraps up, and looking forward to bringing that here on RaceSpotTV. So it's a Hoosier State doubleheader, Indianapolis, the road course at IRP, and then the road course at the big speedway. So with the short track and road course coming up, are you just hoping to just kind of get through these 2 weeks? Or, I mean, what are you going to work on to try to make some points out of these?
You know, it's just about practice. I put around 100 laps of practice at New Hampshire, and it didn't really add to much for me, obviously. I'm hoping Lucas Oil will be a little bit different. Lucas Oil is a weird, not a weird, I don't want to say that, a different side, a different layout compared to New Hampshire, whereas New Hampshire is basically a paperclip, the bigger Martinsville. Lucas Oil is, you know, if I'm remembering correctly, a flat, small version of Dover or Homestead, something like that. And it's just practice. I just need to practice. I'm hoping that at least one of the next, well, I'm hoping this next race, I'll stay on the lead lap until the end. I just want to get battling for positions that actually matter. So it's been a bit frustrating middling in the back so much this season, but you know what? It's understandable. This is a huge learning experience for me. This is actually my first iRacing league, so it's all new, and I'm literally jumping in with some of the best guys on the iRacing service, so I feel like I'm at least getting out of the way when they're coming by.
We'll let you jet out of here and get to the practice for that, and let's talk with some of those top runners in this series. And starting off with tonight's race winner from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we'll get Daniel Eberhardt upstairs, and we are talking with your race winner now from the IWRAPS 125. Daniel, congratulations. Now back-to-back race wins, both on the short-ish tracks, Iowa and now here at New Hampshire, but it looked like a great battle between you and Matt all night. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, it was fun. The car was, I like New Hampshire. I like the flatness of it. I like the elevation changes. It's a difficult track. I'm really not good at the short tracks, but something has clicked in the past couple of weeks with me and saving tires, and I absolutely enjoy racing once again. It's fun. Matt was tough all night. I don't understand really how he ran so hard at the beginning and didn't fall off, but only as much as he did. You know, I thought I was going to catch him and then Drew was going to run him down and he was going to be nowhere to be found, but he like grabbed on and held on, and he was tough to beat all night.
You guys exchanged positions right before the pit stops. He went for the undercut, got the spot back for a moment, but then when you got back by him, we were thinking, okay, maybe you're going to be able to stretch this one out. Instead, he kind of stayed with you there for those final 30.
No, I didn't really want to stretch it out. I wanted to keep him right there, and then I guess the 0-3 got in the back of the 43 off into 1, and it turned him down into me, and then it just felt like the whole car just shoved tight, and I was just doing all I could to hang on to it at that point because the car was just so tight center off. It was unbearable, to be honest with you. It was just so bad at that moment, and I was like, oh God, he's going to get me now, but luckily he didn't, and we survived to another week.
You're now tied for the most race wins in this series this year with Danson. Andrews got 1. Does that make up for the fact that you guys had a poor start? The fact that you're running even if not better than those guys as of late? Or does that make that slow start kind of make you even more angry, knowing that if that was kind of a little bit better off, you could be right in that battle for the championship?
No, I look at it like this. I wanted to go into this season and have fun and not put a lot of pressure on myself and try to learn a couple things for next year in the Full Throttle Cup Series. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it like Danson and Andrew are really tough to beat. And I don't really know what's going on with Andrew. I don't know why he's not up there with us. I don't know if he's just not understanding the car as much. I mean, he's been good at certain points, like at Michigan, but then it's just like he hits some of these tracks like his, these are his strong suits, and he just, I don't know. I don't have any answers for that. But Danson's tough to beat week in and week out, and he's got a lot of road courses in the season that's going to make up for him getting beat by me on these couple oval tracks.
And one of those road races here in the Winter Series coming up in the Hoosier State for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. But before we get that far, we're going short track racing at IRP. Haven't seen that before in this RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series. So what's the outlook going into that bull ring?
I'm really not sure. I don't even know if I've ever made a lap. Possibly in the Xfinity car there. I know I've made a lap in the Nationals, so it can't be much different from horsepower, the horsepower difference. But no, I think it's going to be a fun track. It's going to be tight quarters. Man, I just hope it goes green like it did tonight. I mean, that was awesome to have a full, green to checkered run at New Hampshire. It's really fun to do that, and I really hope IRP puts on a great show.
Looking forward to that one, Daniel. Thanks for racing on Monday nights. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Evan.
Race winner tonight in the IWRAPS 125. We'll pass things down to the pit lane to Jonathan Burke. He's got the rest of our podium, and it starts with the driver who came home in second place here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Chat with Matt Danson.
Well, Matt, you did everything I think you could have done in this race. You were beating the back bumper, you were looking inside, looking low, trying to defend. What was it like fighting for that win out there?
I was so sad. In practice, I was feeling fast. In qualifying, I was feeling really fast. I kind of choked it. I was looking like sort of a half tenth quicker until I got into 3 and sort of ran wide a little bit. But, I got that lead out to, gosh, I think it was like 3 seconds, something. And I was feeling good. I didn't feel like the long run was really a massive issue. I could see that Daniel was, every other lap he was sort of gaining a half tenth, then we'd balance, then he would gain a little bit again, and it was kind of, you know, tit for tat. And then I got that first group of lap cars, and they were like, I think it was like 5, maybe 6 cars, and they were in a heated battle. And yeah, I lost probably, I think, 2 seconds just in that alone. And then I think I started to overdrive as a result to try and keep Daniel behind. And, you know, then as you saw, ultimately he got by me, and then it came back to me. And yeah, I don't know. I just, I wish I had those 2 seconds back.
Well, you did have some good moments, though. You were fighting as hard as you could, and even on the way to pit road, you were trying to make up as much time as possible. You locked it up and slid it in. What was that like? Did you feel like that could have been race over right there if you screwed up there?
Yeah, Lee. I have a habit of throwing away races on pit entry, so that would have been part of the course for me. But when it was like, it felt like it was, you know, sort of horizontal to the pit entry line. So I thought I was 100% wrecking, but thankfully it sort of just came back, just got the grip, and you know, we got it slowed up. And when I came out with the lead, I thought, we might be on here, because at the end of that you know, long green run, I'd come back at Daniel, and so I felt like I could just, if I could just hold him off for a little bit, it'll be all right. And then he just was so fast in the mid corner in that early part of the run, and yeah, I just couldn't hold him.
All right, well, he did give compliments to you, saying that you were almost near impossible to beat, and you were great to have fun racing with, and it was great up here for us watching in the booth. Now, next week we're going to a much different place. We're going to Indianapolis Raceway Park, a much shorter place. What are you expecting from there?
That's a really good question. I'm usually pretty bad at tracks where you have to run up at the wall. Although this track you kind of go up and you run that top line a little bit, but I think I'll be bad, but we'll see. I'll try my best.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm not great at any of those tracks either. I'm only good at Homestead, Miami. That's the only one I can run up against the wall. Anywhere else, no.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm trash there as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm literally about to head out in a moment to go up to the bush for a camping trip, and I'll get back, I think, like a day before next week's race. And so yeah, I'll be going in pretty raw, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Matt. Well, congrats on your second place finish. Hope you enjoy your camping trip, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys.
And that was the 05 of Matt Danson coming home second place. In third place, he ran a very quiet race. Andrew Freenage in the 88. Andrew, you were kind of up there fighting with those top two, but at the end you just came a couple seconds short. What was it like out there?
Yeah, just a quiet night. Thought we did enough practice, and thought we had something for them. They got something on this tire that I really can't save tires like I used to, so really disappointed in it. But you know, it was just a quiet night, ran third most of it, and finished where we did.
You know, early on in that long green flag run, you stayed out really, really late. What was kind of the thinking of that? Try and stay out as late as possible, use as much of the fresh tires in that second run?
Yeah, they were just, like I said, quicker than me. I could stay even, but towards the end of the run, they started pulling away. Fourth place was so far back, I said, you know, why not stay out, lead a lap, get that point, and then, you know, hope that 5-lap fresher tires would do something, and it just really didn't. So that was the thinking behind that call.
I mean, you were able to make a little bit of a comeback, though. You fell all the way to 8th, but still charged all the way back to 3rd. So it was still a good, solid drive, and again, a top 5. Still an okay points day. Matt Danson only grows that lead by a little bit. So are you really concerned about the points at this point in time, or just more focused on the results?
Yeah, always concerned when we're finishing behind the guys in points. We need to do better. We got to get better. Putting a lot of practice, and it clearly wasn't enough. So just need to come out and figure out what they got. I don't know if it's because these setups have been tight or whatever, but we're not on our game. And I think last week really showed that. This week, still putting time, and we just weren't there. So concerned, yes. We're going to work really hard to try to figure it out. And, you know, at this point, though, Daniel and Matt are just plain and simple. They're better at saving tires, and they're better in the short run. They're just better overall.
Well, next week we head to Lucas Oil, which is a much smaller track than this, a little more chaotic maybe? What are you expecting from that race?
To be honest, I don't know. I haven't run there in a while. Probably up against the wall, and track position is going to be key. It's very, very hard to pass there, and I'm hoping the setup's not as tight. Maybe we can get a little bit of a loose setup and play more into my what I like in a car. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be obviously saving tires and just get track position.
All right, Andrew. Well, congrats on your 3rd place finish, and you get to have a nice week off. Enjoy your New Year's, and we'll see you again in 2021.
Thanks so much. I do want to say happy holidays to everybody and happy New Year. Let's get 2020 out of here.
I'll agree to that. Big thanks to our top 3 finishers for chatting with us in this one, to Daniel Eberhardt, Matt Danson, and Andrew Farinaj. We talked about the points. That's the big conversation. Let's take a look at how they changed. Tonight had the possibility to be a big swing. It is only 1 point difference. There is a big advantage to being the race winner. 40 points versus 35 to second. But because Eberhardt wins, Danson and Farinaj score the same race points, except for the 1 point difference. So 35 for Danson, 34 for Farinaj. And the big thing that he mentioned there, Jonathan, was he stayed out to lead a lap, right? So did Danson, so they both get a bonus point. And Daniel Eberhardt got the most laps led tonight over Danson by a 2-lap difference. 61 laps led for Eberhardt versus 59 for Danson. So that takes that extra bonus point away from Danson and gives it to Eberhardt. So because of that, they finished 1 position apart. The advantage goes once more in favor to Matt Danson by 1 point. But if Danson wins this race, that spread probably goes from 4 to 11. Because he would have gotten an extra bonus point. He would have got 5 points more than the car in second. So what could have been big gains for Danson, still good. Anytime you gain on somebody, it's helpful. But 5 points to Farinaj is not safe. And it sounds like the consensus amongst everybody is nobody knows what's going to happen next week.
No, and, again, the reason why we're freaking out, Farinaj down in 3rd and Danson in 2nd, in that it's just kind of been a nickel and diming. It's been like 1 little bonus point to Danson and 1 little bonus point to Farinaj has been able to move this gap a little bit. And if one of these 2 win in the next week, again, a lot of people don't really know what to expect, then that swing could go all the way. Or if those 2 both crash, heaven forbid, Michael Leroy or Daniel Ellenberg could be looking at a huge point swinging it back in the fight. So it's just going to be a little bit of a big question mark right now, and to see who's going to really be the best. I think Danson and Farinaj are both a little, confident, but a little skeptical going into that week.
Yeah, Eberhardt only 40 points off. He was 46 points off into this evening, so he's going to need to continue to win races, but he's also going to need some sort of a mistake. He's going to need Farinaj or Danson to get into wrecks. And listen, we're going to a bull ring of Lucas Oil Raceway next week. If we could take a look at the standings, here we go through the rest of this year. The Indianapolis road course should play in favor of Danson. He won that race at Montreal, but Farinaj was good there. Talladega, obviously, the big one you have to highlight. 2 super speedway races this season, and it comes the week before that season finale at Las Vegas. So it's going to be an exciting final 4 weeks of this championship, and it's been a lot of fun through the opening 6 thus far, and hope that you join us for the rest of them right here on RaceSpotTV. But until next time, that's it for us here tonight for the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So on behalf of our entire team behind the scenes at RealSimRacing and at RaceSpotTV, and for your broadcast team tonight, for Dylan Coyle and the RaceSpotTV in-race reporter car, for our producer Hugo Luis, for Jonathan Burke and myself, Evan Pasoko, I want to thank you for tuning in and congratulate now a 2-time back-to-back winner, Daniel Eberhardt. The championship is still close. That's it, though, for us in 2020. We'll see you next Monday night for the first race of 2021. That race and every race of the 2021 RealSimRacing IWRAPS Winter Series can be found exclusively here on RaceSpotTV. Until next time, good night from New Hampshire and Happy New Year.